Rainbow Push Coalition, people united to serve humanity, and serving you is what we do absolutely best. It is our sincere pleasure this morning as we welcome you to our live Saturday morning forum. We come to you from our national headquarters located in Chicago, Illinois at 930 East 50th Street. We would like to thank our audience on the Word Network, WVON, and CAN TV. We would also like to thank our viewers in our satellite cities where there are physical Rainbow Push offices and we want you to visit them. We are located in Atlanta, Los Angeles, Washington, D.C., New York, Silicon Valley, Detroit, and Houston. We also want to thank the millions of household viewers throughout parts of Western Europe, the Caribbean, and 40 million viewers across the continent of Africa who tune in to watch the Rainbow Push Coalition week after week. We thank you so much for your support. We know we have viewers in Beijing, China, in London, over in the United Kingdom. Hello, hello, hello. Our founder and president is here with us today. Come on, get excited. The Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson Sr. is here. You will hear from Reverend Jackson and some of his closest allies this morning, so prepare to be inspired and informed. I appeal to you, those of you who are watching us on television or listening to us via the radio. We urge and encourage you to connect with this mass movement that we call the Rainbow Push Coalition. If you would like to get inspired, get informed, and get involved, give us a call at the number on your screen. Hit us up on the World Wide Web at www.rainbowpush.org, or you can always stop by. We're here 6 days a week, and we are waiting for you. So, my brothers and sisters, don't touch that dial. Stay right where you are as we push for change, push for equality, push one for another. much. That was our Rainbow Push Choir under the direction of Pastor Bryant Jones. The Rainbow Push Coalition has partnered with the Green Festival. You will see us at the Navy Pier on May 5th and 6th. You will hear from Reverend Jackson at Navy Pier during the Green Festival on May 5th. So you do want to be a part of it. Again, it's May 5th and 6th here in Chicago, Illinois at Navy Pier. So you want to get more information and be a part of that. For more information, we encourage you to call 828-333-9403. Reverend Jackson will be speaking along with Van Jones, Amy Goodman, Naomi Davis, and so many others. So we encourage you to meet us at Navy Pier May 5th and 6th. And in conjunction with the Green Festival, we are hosting a reception here at Rainbow Push on that Friday, May 4th, from 4 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. So we encourage you to be a part of that as well. Friday, May 4th, a reception with the Green Festival here at Rainbow Push Coalition. We want you to listen live to our Keep Hope Alive radio show. It's Keep Hope Alive with Jesse Jackson. Comes on Sunday mornings, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. Log on to keephopealiveradio.com. And again, you can hear our radio show. Tomorrow's show is 20 years after the LA riots of 1992. Rodney King will join Reverend Jackson to talk about his life then and now, and his new book, The Riot Within, My Journey from Rebellion to Redemption. Surely you want to tune in to our radio program to hear that tomorrow. Also on tomorrow, during our Keep Hope Alive program, we will have Dr. Mark Lamont Hill, Attorney Vincent Sutherland of the NAACP, Attorney David Lowe, Danny Schechter, and Dr. Max Wolf. So again, keephopealiveradio.com, Sundays, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Our national spokesman is always on the scene and current, so please welcome him, Mr. Jonathan Jackson.
Thank you, Marchette. Our congratulations go out to our South African friends, allies, brothers, and sisters as they celebrate their 100th year anniversary for the ANC, as they celebrate this is the anniversary weekend for the election of the past president of Mr. Nelson Mandela. To our friends and colleagues in South Africa, we say congratulations, and we thank you for your inspiration and your nonviolence and diligence as you move on towards economic justice. Give our South African friends a loving round of applause. History is unbroken continuity. Here we see ourselves dealing with the paradox of time, both something that is moving consistent and in a circle. It's the 20th year anniversary of the Los Angeles riots. And we see our nation engaged in a simmering racial feud. There is a word that's in dictionaries of past that's not very popular today, but I tend to read old dictionaries on occasion so that I can have a very precise word. This word regarding fear. There is a fear of many young blacks in our society. When we saw some of the underlying conditions of the LA riots, those officers said they felt fear that Mr. King might have moved or flinched one more time. Well, we can bring it on up 20 years later. A young man in Florida, armed with a gun in a vehicle, started stalking a young man with Skittles and a cup of tea and said he felt fear. Well, when you go to the dictionary, there's a word for that. There's a word for being afraid of stepping on cracks, afraid of the number 13, afraid of heights. Look up the phobia called negrophobic. It's in American English. The fear of Negroes. The only way we can combat this is by living together, working together, being educated together, separate schools, separate housing. Creating two Americas is not the answer. One of the things we found out about the underlying cause of the LA riots is the growing income inequality. We saw that the bottom 20% of Californians from 1980 to 1990s, their income fell 20%. Those making over $80,000, their income grew by 18%. Of the private equity pension fund dollars, over $300 billion in the state of California, less than 1% went to African Americans and Hispanics combined. In the state of Illinois, you know it's even more atrocious. If you can't name a public works building, an investor that has public pension dollars that's investing in our neighborhoods, something's wrong. You may say, I don't qualify for that. I don't understand what that is. Well, let me explain it to you. If you're a teacher, a bus driver, a sanitation worker, an educator, part of your check is going into the public pension funds. Those public pension funds are going past all of the investment bankers. They have the probity. They have the discretion to determine who's most likely going to invest and return our money. Well, we know Wall Street doesn't have it right. Look at what Lehman Brothers did. Look at what MF Global did. Look at what Merrill Lynch has done. Look at what Washington Mutual has done. Why can't we create the products to let the average individual investor have access to the pension funding money they so rightfully deserve? We're going to talk about that now, but I want to say once again as I bring on my father, let me tell you this. Some people are proud to know that their father can buy them a Bentley, and that's a good thing. And some people may want to see their father get them a Range Rover, and I'm not mad at it. Some people's daddies work in the NBA and the NFL. Those are very notable professions. Some people's daddies are lawyers and doctors. But let me tell you, I'm proud to know that my father is a reverend and a minister. And I'm proud to know that when a Hanna family has a problem in North Chicago, somebody will show up. I'm proud to know when there's a problem in Oklahoma, somebody will show up. I'm proud to know when there's a problem with Attorney Trump in Florida, somebody, and a reverend, and a minister will show up. Once again, Dad, for bringing the light on justice in North Chicago. We got one of them down. It's not over. Stay on the case. I love you, Dad.
Come on, everybody put those hands together. Somebody scream in this place. Reverend Jackson, we love you. Don't stop the fight. I can hear. Put your hands together. Listen. I'm boys gone in the hard time Mississippi, surrounded by y'all. The walls it ain't so pretty. Hey, so it's still in love and affection to keep it strong. Moving in the right direction, nigga. Yeah. Y'all know what I'm singing about? Just wave your hand like this. Y'all gonna sing. For 14 hours, and you can bet anywhere he hardly made a dollar. Y'all, he wins club. He's called the floor for me. And you best believe he hardly made a penny. Y'all don't know who he's singing about. Put both hands in the air and do like that. I wish I had your mom. Come on down to live. Oh, good God Almighty, for the city I'm living. Yes, we are. Every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, back again on Monday. Rainbow push, this is what we do. Wow! Crazy! Somebody put those hands together, will you? Don't play with that thing, Gene. My God, my God. Yeah! Oh, yeah, yeah! Y'all gonna help us sing it. Come on, y'all. Living just enough for the teaching.
I am somebody. I am somebody. I am somebody. Respect me. Protect me. Never neglect me. Stop the violence. Save the children. Stop the violence. Save the children. Keep hope alive. Never surrender. Keep hope alive. Never give up. Keep hope alive. the city.
Mama, living is nothing for the city. Oh,
Put your hand together. Put your hand together. We have so many very special guests and participants today, but none has more meaning to us today. A man who comes out of the bowels of the great black liberating legal tradition. He is the attorney for the Trayvon Martin family. Attorney Ben Crump, what you saying? Put your hand together. Put your hand together. Put your hand together. Put your hand together. Attorney Benjamin Crump, put your hand together. Today we celebrate and commemorate really the beating of Rodney King this weekend 20 years ago. Tomorrow morning on our radio program, 7 to 9 a.m. Central Time, keepupaliveradio.com. Rodney King will be one of our special guests tomorrow morning, along with Sister Attorney Barbara Unwine, along with Mark Lamont Hill. Tomorrow morning, 7 a.m., Rodney King will be one of our special guests. He has turned he has turned pain into power. Rodney King is a survivor, and we are delighted to be. He did a tremendous on Reverend Al Sharpton's TV show on Thursday. The tremendous interview with Rodney King will now has out a book well worth your buying. I do want to say that on next Saturday, our special guest will be Trayvon Martin's mother and father. We want to bring them to Chicago and show our love for them. A sister beloved who has meant so much. Many of us grew up under the power of her music and her brother's preaching. Sister Ludella Evans, the traditional Chicago choir. Ludella, stand up. Give her a big hand. Big hand. On this coming Tuesday night, we're having a major rally in North Chicago at the First Corinthian Baptist Church at 6 o'clock with Pastor Roberson. Pastor Roberson, please, is the pastor. Give it up for Pastor Roberson. Because we stood up and we are fighting back in North Chicago. 7 policemen involved, 7 armed men, 1 unarmed black man. And they tasered him 7 times. And they handcuffed him. And they beat him. And only 1 was fired, who was already in the process of retiring. And 1 was given 30 days. The other walked the streets freely. But we will not stop until they are charged with murder and face the full weight of the bar of justice. So there will be a meeting that's coming Tuesday night at 6 o'clock in North Chicago at the First Corinthian Baptist Church. I want to congratulate Reverend A.E. Davis and the clergy who stood up for the mental health hospital. Give Reverend A.E. Davis and Bishop Thomas Grant a big hand. They join with the mental health stakeholders and occupy the fight to keep services and clinics open for our people. I want to congratulate the city of Chicago on the first step of maintaining some part of the Woodlawn Clinic, Roseland Clinic, and Auburn Gresham. We'll be meeting with the city again on this coming Thursday morning to continue to fight with the mental health stakeholders. Where is the money to keep these hospitals open? Somewhere in the graveyards of Iraq. We're paying a big price. So we're paying a price, going to Iraq, $3 trillion, killing the wrong people, destroying the wrong country. We lost $3 trillion in Iraq. $1 trillion could wipe out every state budget deficit. $1 trillion could rehire teachers, police, firemen, coaches, recreation centers. Say arrogance precedes the fall. That's why there'll be a major march in Chicago on May 20th called the NATO March. You have a place in that march, May 20th, because the money that we need for schools and mental hospitals, the money we need to rebuild affordable housing, that money is going into killing abroad. Dr. King's last mission was to occupy in Washington between the Lincoln Memorial and the Washington Monument, to occupy that we might choose the war on poverty and healing at home over the war in Vietnam and killing abroad. He said bombs dropped in Vietnam will explode in America's cities. And we've come full cycle. So we must choose the war on poverty. We must choose to keep open mental health hospitals, keep open public schools, maintain our teachers, recreation centers, choose for our children futures, not funerals. More graduations and less funerals. More graduations and less funerals. We shall fight to keep the hope alive. Lastly, we're going today to have, kick off our sports athletic league for young girls and boys now until July. These young people need recreation, academic and athletic year-round. I want our young team, stand-up ball players, I want the ball players to stand up. Give them a hand. Give them a big hand. Before I bring on our panel today, I want all teachers who teach at a high school listen to me in America today, starting here in Chicago. Say every high school principal, a senior class teacher should convene the senior class for graduation, convene the senior class, convene them that they might walk across the stage, the diploma in one hand and the voter card in the other. So the diploma in one hand, voter card in the other. We are fighting to end school suspensions. Don't suspend our children. Educate them. We're fighting for elected school boards. We're fighting for school voter registration. Register and vote to raise Pell Grants. Register and vote to lower tuition. Register and vote to keep low student loan deficits. Put your hands together if that makes sense to you. I want to do something kind of special now. We have putting together a panel today. And I want Maria Starks and Lannis Dunn to come up here while I'm making this little transition today. Two of our outstanding children. Attorney Crump, you mean so much to us. Give him another hand. Give a big hand to Attorney Crump. You guys come up here. I want Attorney Larry Rogers, Attorney Ben Crump, Attorney John Fairman, come on up here right now, and Sister Gloria Carr. Give them a big hand. Put your hand together like you mean that. And this is something I had not removed this plan to do. But I really want, this is for Brother, special way for Brother Crump. Because Crump has traveled this nation and now traveling the world, move this, on this case with Trayvon, who symbolizes the pain and passion of our time. Brother Crump is possessed with watching children grow, obsessed with planting seeds, giving our children an opportunity to do something and be something special. And while our program is running tight today, as we open up our athletic academic league for this season, we're teaching them literacy, teaching them computer, inspiring them to stay in school, working to get them college scholarships beyond just athletics, but that also. But I want, as a kind of inspiration to Brother Crump, because I want him to put this in the bottle and take it back home, because next week we intend to have Brother Crump back here if he can possibly make it, but also the mother and father of Trayvon Martin will be our special guest. And we're going to bring together other mothers and fathers in Chicago who suffered the same plight of having lost their child. There is a madness loose in our country today. 35 blacks have been killed by police and security officers since January of this year. 18 since Trayvon was killed. This is just the police part of it. And there's a certain madness to this stand your ground laws, because that's a two-way street. See, people walking down the street, going home can stand their ground as well. See, nobody has to stop to engage a vigilante in the conversation. Nobody has the obligation to stop and give a vigilante any information. And no vigilante has the right to pursue people and kill people without paying the full weight of justice. As I bring on our panel, this is kind of special, and I just want you to hear, as this rains down, say, as the rain falls, for some children it's acid, for some children it's hope. Now, give us your little poem. I want these people to hear you give it, and then I want you to hear yours. Come on, buddy.
I don't want to use the microphone.
Do it. Well, you have to use the microphone so you can hear it. You have to use the microphone.
I am a man, a black man. From my mother's womb, I was born to fight this platoon. Taught the language of my people, so I worked to cultivate the land. Feeling the spirits that got in my clan. The thread that bound us together kept us strong. I felt that turn of determination, touching a mile long. Becoming a man, I had to break the chain to be free. That held my body tight and bound like a shoe cleat. I am a man, a black strong man. My mother told me that I was born to lead. No man can hold me in captivity. Taken from the motherland that bleeds, I hold firm to my mother's words. Son, let no man bound you. Take your place in America without a clue. As I break down these walls, stick it to me like glue. I remember the words of W.E.B. Du Bois. We have to demand our rights for equality. And I understood this as my reality. I am a man, a black intelligent man. Then I heard the words of Dr. King. It is true that the law cannot make a man love me, but it can stop him from lynching me. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So I break the chain of oppression, racism, and discrimination. Remembering a courageous leader like Malcolm X who spoke out, it is only after slavery and prison that the sweetest appreciation of freedom can come. People do not realize how one man's whole life can be changed by one book. I am a man, determined, intelligent, and courageous. I am built solid and strong like the trunk of a tree. No man can bound me. I am free. I am free. I am a man, a black man.
My name name is Mariah Starks, and I'm from Duma Technology Academy. Today, I am mad. I turned on the TV and seen that another one of my brothers was killed, and that made me cry. My response was, why? Why should my sisters and brothers have to be killed? Zimmerman, who should be convicted for the death of Trayvon Martin, but the evidence they would never spill. They throw us behind bars, lock us in cages. But don't they know to the man that only enrages? So now we have wars, riots, and fights. We have no more leaders who will stand up for our rights. Where are they now? Nowhere to be found. Spook like cats, but they are lost in an empty ghost town. Our enemies who ride around in their red and blue cars, protected by their vests, knowing that at any moment if they wanted to, for no reason at all, they could shoot a brother in the chest. Leave him on the ground, silence, no sound. You only hear the cry of a mother when she has realized she has lost her child. We will truly start to regret when our beautiful world stops spinning around. In this generation today, no leaders are to be found. So here I stand before you, trying to become one, trying to get my peers to realize that something must be done. Now is the time, because later won't arrive. In our minds, we must realize we have to make a change, because our future is already being arranged. A long line of cars with an orange sticker on the top. With the words that read funeral, you will be placed in a box. Our opportunities, we must grab it. If not, our only future is to be put in the ground, closed caskets.
Give these babies a hand, Daniel. Yes, sir. I just want just one verse of your song. I just had to put this in today. Give her one verse. Learning the tradition.
I know I've been changed. I know I've been changed. Good Lord, I know I've been changed. The angels in heaven done sign my name. The angels in heaven done sign my name. Well, if you don't believe that I've been redeemed, the angels in heaven done sign my name. Oh, follow me down to that old Jordan stream. The angels in heaven done sign my name. I step into the water, but that water was cold. The angels in heaven done sign my name.
Go on, man, sing that song.
Okay,
Put your hands together.
okay. It chilled my body, but not my soul. The angels in heaven done sign my name. I know I've been changed. I know I've been changed. Good Lord, I know I've been changed. The angels in heaven done sign my name.
Put your hands together. Put your hands together. I want Assistant Principal Miss Allen, Sister Louise Dewberry coming. She's their teacher. Give it up for the teacher. Say, children learn when teachers teach. Give it up for Sister Dewberry. Give her a big hand. Thank you very much. Dumas Technology Academy. Families involved today parents of Daniel and Stephen Watts, victim shot and killed by police in Calumet City. Stephon Watts, shot in cold blood, autistic child. Victim shot and killed on West Side, Raquel Boyd. Martinez Sutton, her brothers here, and Angela Helston, mother. Victim shot and killed by police on the west side of Chicago, Ricky Bradley. Ms. Bernadine is here today. Victim shot by police and sentenced to 40 years in prison. I say Howard Morgan shot 28 times. He sentenced to prison for 40 years. His wife, Ms. Morgan, is here today. Sabrina Freeman, son killed by gang violence and harassed by police of Inglewood. Today we want to express a particular thanks. There's a perfect storm. Emmett Till was not the first to be lynched. But something happened at that time and transformed us, in part because his mother didn't just let him lay in the grave in Mississippi. She brought him back here in an open-faced casket, and those who saw his defaced body were never quite the same again. So that was the spirit of Emmett Till. In some sense, when these mothers and fathers fight back, graves cannot contain their children or their relatives, as the case may be. And somehow the Trayvon Martin case has captured our attention of America and the world, has hit a nerve center that's different. And I'm glad that the family has chosen a lawyer who has integrity and who is smart. I want you, Brother Trump, to give us right now, where are we now for those who may be watching for the first time? What happened to Trayvon and where we're now? A big hand for Attorney Ben Crump.
Reverend Jackson, before I start, I want to say publicly, thank you for your leadership. When we have such an iconic historic figure who takes the leadership and say, I will stand with you, Sabrina Fulton. I will stand with you, Tracy Martin. It makes a huge difference. So we give you an Operation Push a great round of applause for standing up and helping Trayvon stand his ground. And if I might have one more moment of indulgence, I want to borrow a line from Reverend Jackson because I want to take a message back to his family and get them ready to come and visit you in Chicago. Now, Reverend Jackson says, I am somebody. And just for a few minutes, I want to change that and have you repeat after me. I am Trayvon. I am Trayvon. Thank you. Reverend Jackson, and to the distinguished panel, to all the families here, as Sabrina Fulton said in New York, Trayvon was just not my son, he was your son. He was all our son. And as you all know oh too well, if it could happen to my son, it could happen to your son. So thank you for standing up for Trayvon Martin. I think it is very clear, Reverend Jackson, that most people know the story by now of Trayvon Martin all over the world, but I will just give a quick recap as you have asked. And that is on February 26th, the same night they were playing the NBA All-Star game in the suburbs of Orlando, Florida, where the game was taking place. Trayvon and his father was visiting his father's girlfriend in Sanford, Florida. Trayvon had went to the corner store right before the game and had got for his little brother some Skittles and a can of Arizona iced tea. He was walking back, it started raining. He put his hoodie on his head and he came in through the gated community, and there was an armed vigilante named George Zimmerman who profiled Trayvon Martin. And we have all heard the 911 tape now, Reverend Jackson, of the reason he said that Trayvon Martin was suspicious. The police dispatcher asked, why was he suspicious? And he said, because he's black, he has a hoodie on his head, and he's walking slow. What is it about our children that makes them suspicious? And that started the question and the debate. He didn't stop there because he's a neighborhood watch, a self-appointed neighborhood watch. And Reverend Jackson, he is not a police officer. He is not anybody other than a private citizen. Him and Trayvon Martin's status was the same. No greater at all. He had no authority to stop Trayvon Martin that night, as this kid simply walked home to take his brother some Skittles. He disregarded the police dispatcher's instructions. You all have heard that 911 tape. He profiled, pursued, and confronted Trayvon Martin. We believe Trayvon Martin went to his grave not knowing Attorney Rogers, who was this strange man that was following him. And we have now heard all the 911 tapes for that night after he confronted him, Attorney Flowers. Trayvon said, "Why are you following me?" And then his mother and father had to listen to those tapes, Reverend Jackson, of their child crying, weeping, begging for his life. And then they heard that riveting shot, and then complete silence. And we all have listened to that objective evidence, and we have felt the pain as parents, mothers and fathers. But some of you understand their loss. But can you imagine, Reverend Jackson, and you have a wonderful son in Jonathan, can you imagine listening to that tape, knowing when that bullet, that riveting sound comes from that bullet, that is the end of your child's life. That is the end of your hopes, your dreams, all your aspirations. They were good parents. They did a good job raising Trayvon. He would have been one of your basketball players had he been here today. He was making good grades. And Zimmerman took his life, and it was a shame. It was a shame that Zimmerman profiled him. But what was tragic, Reverend Jackson, was that the police department and our justice system profiled Trayvon Martin. And that's a worse tragedy than anything Zimmerman could ever do. So after marches and protests and petitions and leadership of people like Reverend Jackson and civil rights icons like Reverend Sharpton and Reverend Jamal Bryant and President Obama saying if I had a son, he would look like Trayvon, after Prince Harry put on a hoodie, after y'all homeboy Dwayne Wade put on a hoodie, after Gabrielle Union put on a hoodie, after Amara Stoudemire put on a hoodie, after all these people said it's not a robbery to stand up for Trayvon Martin, we then finally got an arrest, Reverend Jackson, and that got us to first base. But we cannot be complacent. We are only on first base. And Reverend Jackson said it best that it cannot be a moment, it has to be a movement, because Miss Howard and Howard Morgan's family, that Stefan, everybody's family is together with Trayvon, and if we stop just at Zimmerman, we still lose. We got to keep pressing on to change the laws, to change the institutions, to change the police departments. We got to make it where everybody gets equal justice. We got to make it where everybody has a right to a fair and impartial investigation, so they cannot sweep our children's death under the rug. Our children's lives cannot be in vain. The legacy of Trayvon Martin is the legacy of your children. The legacy of Trayvon Martin is the legacy of justice. And when they have rallies in London and Trafalgar Square, when they have rallies in Montreal, Canada, Los Angeles, and Chicago, and Philadelphia, really what it is a rally for justice for all of us. God bless you, and thank you on behalf of his parents.
How long, why did it take so long to get Trayvon back to Miami?
Reverend Jackson, that has been the question that has just riddled the mind of Tracy Morgan. Tracy Morgan Trayvon's father, after they showed him the picture less than 12 hours later, after Trayvon was shot and killed by this armed vigilante with a 9mm gun. How many of y'all have ever heard of a neighborhood watchman having a 9mm gun? That is outrageous. But after Tracy Martin identified his son, they showed him that picture, and he hung his head and said, "That is my son, Trayvon Martin." And all he simply asked the Sanford Police Department to do was let me take my boy home to Miami so his mother and I can give him a proper burial. And they said, "Well, Mr. Martin, we don't have the medical examiner here in this county, Attorney Flowers." They said, "We have to get a positive identification." Tracy Martin said, "That is my son. I know my seed." Well, Attorney Furman, it didn't happen that day. The next day when the undertaker from Miami called Reverend Jackson to the Sanford medical examiner, or to their district medical examiner, they said they still don't have a positive ID. So Tracy Martin went back there on that Tuesday. Trayvon was killed that Sunday. And that Tuesday morning, he said, "I want to take my baby home. What do I have to do to take my baby home?" And the police detective then tried to explain, didn't answer the question, but tried to explain to him, to add insult to injury, Reverend Jackson, that they were not going to arrest George Zimmerman for killing an unarmed teenager who had Skittles in a can of Arizona iced tea. And Tracy Martin was just beyond outraged, but he still asked the question, "When can I take my son home?" And they said, "It's not ready yet." Tracy Martin said, "I've identified him. I just want to take my boy home to Miami." And they said, "We're still working on that." Another 24 hours go by. And then finally that Wednesday, Tracy Martin came and he looked the detective in his eyes, said, "You need to fill out whatever paperwork you need to do," because he had called the undertaker again in Miami, and again the undertaker said, "They won't release the body to us. We're ready to come and get your baby, but they won't release the body to us." And we don't know why they wouldn't release the body. We don't know that, but they did not do it. And finally, Tracy Martin went there, as any father would do, and said, "I will not leave this police department until you fill out that paperwork and fax it to whoever you got to fax it to, because I am taking my son home today, because I'm his father, and I couldn't protect him while he was living, but I can make sure I preserve his legacy and give him a proper funeral." And so it was only until he demanded that he do the paperwork that day and he would not leave did they finally get the paperwork done, Reverend Jackson, and they finally took Trayvon Martin home 3 days later.
3 days later. The three men, the men who killed Emmett Till, were acquitted because they said they could not positively identify his body, as they could not positively identify the body of Trayvon Martin. The legacy of terror continues. Sister Carl, very quickly before I come back to your son in North Chicago, what happened?
My son was tased, beaten to beyond recognition. He was tased 7 times. He was beaten by 6 officers with batons, a butt of a gun, tasers, and he was handcuffed. And my son didn't have anything, no weapons whatsoever. What really made it so ironic, 3 parts of his body parts are missing. I cannot bury him because 3 parts of the body parts are missing. And on yesterday, they came to a conclusion where one officer was dismissed. He was on his way out anyway, and the other one got 30 days. The prosecutor for the officer had nerve enough to say he got what he deserved. What man or woman or child beaten to death, tased 14 times, deserve anything like that? Not even a dog deserved to be beat like that. Jesus was on the cross and he stayed there and he would not come down. I'm the mother and I will not come down until justice come out. I will not come down.
Another Rod, quickly. Another case in Rockford. What happened to Mr. Barrymore?
In the Mark Anthony Barmore case, and let me just begin again by saying another instance when Reverend Jackson heard about the incident and wanted to be there at the time for the family. Another time he demonstrated leadership for his community and for the people, and on behalf of the Barmore family, we thank you for that. This young man, unarmed, standing outside of a church he had attended on a few occasions, talking to the pastor about possibly getting into a boxing program that they were starting, hopefully to turn his life around, sees a paddy wagon drive by and see them turn around. He goes inside of the church that he's known, that he's attended on a couple of occasions. The officer gets out of the vehicle, beats on the doorway demanding to come in. They're in the church. The church is operating a daycare center with children throughout, from toddlers all the way up to about 12 years old. The young man runs into a closet, a boiler room, always running away, trying to get away, hiding himself in fear, but secure. And these officers go down into this basement. They don't clear any of the children away, and they bust into this closet door. Once they open the door, the man comes out, according to the pastor's 17-year-old daughter, who witnessed it, with his hands up, and he gets shot right in his neck. Area is about 3 feet wide. When he falls against a sink area, the partner shoots him 3 times in the back. When I described the situation to Reverend Jackson, he couldn't believe it till he saw it. He came up there and put his fingers into the wounds just to see what they had done to this young boy. And ever since that time, he's been there standing for justice, and we thank you for that.
Brother John, you trying these cases. What's your feel of it now?
My issue is more of accountability, and that is, how many people know here in Chicago that if you see your son being beaten by a police officer, you cannot record it? If you do, you can be charged with a felony case. How many people know that?
One more time now.
That's about as real as it gets. Understand that there was a law passed. So if you're not a registered voter, this is a reason to become one. Understand that if you see an officer beating your son or somebody else, you cannot by law record it. And if you do, you can be charged with a felony case. That law was passed here. That is a law on the books in Chicago.
So we know about Rodney King because it was photographed.
Correct.
Which would be illegal now.
And you know about the issues from what happened in regards to North Chicago, which the Fed should get involved because a lot of those have been recorded. Chicago, or I should say the state of Illinois, has passed a law. You cannot record an officer. That's about as bad as it gets. That's a reason not only to vote, but to also go down to Springfield and challenge it.
The reason we emphasize and vote, I asked a number of youth the other day, how many of you would like to be a juror in Sanford, Florida, when Zimmerman walks into the courtroom? They all raised their hands. But I reminded them only registered voters can serve as jurors. Only registered voters can serve as jurors. So every hooder must be a voter. Every hoodie must be a voter, or you're hoodwinking justice. Now, brother, because we're still on the air around the world, Brother Crump, I do want to express thanks, Reverend Al Sharpton, his radio and TV show, and being jealous of NAA and Reverend Jamal Bryant have been so steadfast. And give these leaders a big hand. They've been so steadfast, a real big hand. So whenever we fight together, we always win. When we fight, we win. When we fight, we never lose. Unless we fight, we never win. The Rainbow Push Convention, July the 11th through the 14th, on that first night will be a major session with lawyers and prosecutors and judges on this whole issue of this growing crisis of racial injustice. You may contact me at www.rainbowpush.org to get more information about the convention this week. It's just $100 to begin to sign up now at the Hilton Hotel in Chicago. Ben, now that Mr. Zimmerman is on the streets free again, I understand he was an indigent man too broke to make bail.
Reverend, this case continues to unfold, and every time they get up in the morning and they make it their aim to not do justice, God makes it his aim to do justice. After that bond hearing, when Zimmerman came and gave that orchestrated, insincere apology, even though he was supposed to be testifying to the court, he was trying to pander for the media and aim his comments to the family. And if his testimony, Reverend Jackson, was any indication of what's to come in this trial, then the lying had already begun, because he lied when he said that he did not know the age of their son.
Did he have any money?
Reverend Jackson, I'm getting to that. Let me break it down to you. He simply said that he did not know the age of Trayvon Martin, but he forgot on the 911 tape, he told the dispatcher that it was a black male in his teens. So that was lie number one. And then he lied by omission, Reverend Jackson, when he told the court that he was indigent, that he had no money. The state attorney asked him about this website, The Real George Zimmerman, how much money he had raised, asked his mother, asked his father, and asked his wife. And they all wavered and vacillated on the answer, and the lawyer said that we don't know how much money he has in the account, maybe a couple of $100, maybe a couple of $1,000, but we're poor. And they knew the judge was soliciting that testimony to decide what the bond amount was going to be to determine whether he would get released from jail. And then last night it came out, while Reverend Jackson and us were in Los Angeles together, it came out that they were not completely truthful. It came out that they were less than honest. It came out that maybe they did raise a little more than a couple of $1,000, Reverend Jackson.
He's telling stories.
It was so funny. My little nephew asked me, Uncle Ben, how many times do you get to prove that you're honest? How many times we going to get Zimmerman to say that he's an honest man? Because remember, all the lawyers will tell you, Reverend Jackson, in this trial, it is about credibility, because Trayvon Martin is dead. We don't know his version of what happened. The only other witness now is George Zimmerman, and it's his credibility. And if he allow about little things like money and bond hearing, we know he'll allow about big things dealing with whether he's going to be convicted of second-degree murder. So where we at now, Reverend Jackson, it is very clear where we are at now is like Trayvon Martin's parents are watching, all America is watching, all the world is watching to see what the judge is going to do about George Zimmerman deceiving them. Is he going to be as offended as Trayvon Martin's parents and all of us are? And is he going to be offended enough to do something about it? Because whatever he does, and this is important, whatever this judge does about him misleading the court is going to tell us a lot whether Trayvon Martin can get justice. That is going to be a big issue. What the judge is going to do? The whole world is watching. Can Trayvon Martin get justice?
Larry, given how pervasive this is, because we were in Tulsa, Oklahoma last week, where two whites went up in the black community and shot 5 and killed 3. But because of the fear that you might have riots or some rebellion in Tulsa, like it did in Sanford, they found them rather quickly. And then they charged them, and they put the bail too high for them to reach, and they charged them with a hate crime. But in Oklahoma, a hate crime is a misdemeanor. And so across the nation, and we see 10 have been charged with a hate crime in the last 10 years, misdemeanor. In North Chicago, 10 federal court cases and 4 have resulted in murder in that small county. What can be done now?
Well, is what you mentioned a moment ago. This thing is happening all over the country. As lawyers in the community, we get calls on these cases all the time, and it's only rare that you get a case like a Trayvon Martin that can highlight it so everybody for the world can see what's going on. It's an institutional problem, and it's an institutional problem. Anytime police departments who are supposed to serve and protect are doing nothing but protecting their own, when they're called to the carpet on a suspicious circumstance, the system has a problem. Anytime prosecutors are not charging one neighbor who essentially kills another neighbor, in the Trayvon Martin case, there is a problem with the system. They have designed a system that is aimed at protecting those that commit the harm against the victim. They know the victim can't speak up for themselves. They know the family wasn't there, and they want to protect the person who committed the crime. And it only seems to be, or the vast majority of these situations are black people and black kids. And we need to do something about it. We need to have more futures for our kids and less funerals. So what we need to do about it is this fight in Trayvon Martin's case, in the Watts family case, it doesn't stop after the arrest. Like Attorney Crump said, that's first base. We need every person to be a registered voter. We need every person to participate in juries. There was a time we did not have a chance to serve on juries, and they administered justice against our community. They let all of the jurors let those who committed the crimes against Emmett Till off. Well, now we can serve, and we need to make sure that we do serve so that families like Trayvon Martin's can have the true justice rendered by their community of their peers.
Brother John, what can, given your role in the Cook County Bar, what can, given the Raquel Boyd case on the west side, given the case of Stephon Watts, I mean, it's just breaking out the case of Howard, what can we expect of the Department of Justice? I mean, we can't just deal with this retail. This is a wholesale problem.
It is, and the issue is whether or not the Department of Justice will actually speak or step up. I mean, that's the issue. What can we expect? I hope a number of things, but I don't think until we actually push forward, until we actually bring it to light, until we actually bring attention to these cases, that they're going to do a thing. And that's as honest as I can get. You have, and I agree wholeheartedly with Larry, and that is, and let me steal a line first from Mr. Crump, and that is, Jim Crow Jr. is smarter than Jim Crow.
Amen.
What do we mean by that? This is throughout, we have laws that actually promote and actually protect police brutality. The one I highlighted in regards to not being able to record an officer. There was one that Attorney Crump brought up in regards to a Florida law that you cannot air a videotape at a trial when there is a fatality, when there is a death in the case.
Yeah, to anybody.
To anybody. This is the issue in regards to the laws being passed. And until we get out in numbers, until we vote in numbers, until we come out in mass, it's going to continue. We have laws, I can tell you one that should be put out, and that is the recording. Officers should be required to have videotapes in their cars, and it should be on when there's a traffic stop. Because then it makes it visible. Then it's out, it's known. And then the question becomes, if you do not have it on, why not?
Yep. Sister Carl, I want to ask you the last question before I come back to Ben. In the case of your son, who was beaten brutally, there is the attempt now to discredit him. When you confronted the state's attorney officials, as she said, they caught your son because he was there trying to drown his partner. There's no evidence of that.
No evidence whatsoever. She was in the room when this happened. She saw it all. She did run out, but she's going to be able to tell a story one day very soon. One day. We're going to, like they say, we're going to put the bomb on top of this. The icing on the cake when she stepped forward. And this is going to happen very soon.
You know, for you who are listening and watching today, who are being streamed to now, if your neighbor's house is on fire, for whatever reason, and the wind blows, you're next. And the wind is blowing. And one line of thought that's so much like Easter, you don't have to be guilty to be crucified. You don't have to be guilty to be crucified. And we cannot stop evil from crucifying good men, but they cannot stop God from resurrecting them. And it is our fight back. So we have the power. So we have the power to resurrect the spirit of the dead. Our marching means they live in us. When we vote, they live in us. When we occupy, they live in us. When we're willing to engage in civil disobedience for righteous reasons, they live in us. No lie can contain us forever. No jail cell can contain us, and no grave can hold our body down. We've come too far to give up now. We stand tall. We fight for justice. We fight for justice. We fight for fairness. This land is our land.
Our land.
This land is our land.
Our land.
Keep the hope.
Keep the hope
alive.
Alive.
Keep the hope.
Keep the hope
alive.
Alive.
Never. Surrender. Forward. Ever. Forward. By faith. Keep hope. Alive. Put your hands together. Before I take up we're going to do two things. One, I want those of you, Sister Muhammad, who will meet me, we're going to North Chicago at 6 o'clock for a rally on Tuesday. If you're interested in going, let us know today. We may have a bus to leave here around 4 o'clock going to North Chicago on Tuesday afternoon. Be seated. Willie, give us a little touch to him, your government. I'll just give a little of that. This is for, Crumpet from down south. He kind of country. He understands the soul story kind of stuff.
There was a woman in the Bible day who was sick so very long. And she heard that Jesus was passing by. So she joined that gathering throng. And while she was pushing her way through, somebody asked her, "Woman, what are you trying to do?" She said, "I'm just going to touch the hem of his garment, then I know I'll be made whole." You can help me. The woman cried, "Oh, oh Lord, oh Lord, oh." She said, "If I could touch the hem of his garment, then I know I'll be made whole." Listen. and there until she had no more to spare. You see, the doctors, they did all they could do, but their medicine wouldn't do no good. But when she touched, Jesus didn't see. Still he turned around and said, somebody touch me. She said, well, I touched you, Jesus, and I was made whole. The woman cried, oh, Lord. She said, if I could touch the hem of his garment, I'd be made whole.
Put your hands together. Let me make several special announcements. One, Sister Ludella, on Sunday, April 29th at 5 o'clock p.m. They're sailing the ship again. Festival Flowers, right? 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock, April 29th at Fellowship. It's Ludella in traditional gospel. Give it up to Ludella. We're going to have a press conference in a few minutes in the studio. Let me make just two announcements. One of them is that I'm reaching out to every high school senior class. I want our kids to march across that stage with a diploma and a voting card. I want voting in their conscience. They're voting in their consciousness. They must use their vote as a weapon to protect our interests. Tomorrow morning, we're going to have Rodney King as one of our special guests on the broadcast in Chicago. That means 7 to 9 on VON, but it's Keep Up Alive radio around the country. Sister Watts has a petition going. I want to announce that before I take up our collection. Petition for the investigation and prosecution of Calumet City police officer. Sister Watts, we're going to pursue this. I want y'all to pass these around, all right? Hold this for me, please. Now let us bow our heads in prayer. Monday boycotting shops in Calumet City. Drop the cop and shop. Don't shop till you drop. Let us pray. We must not have false joy. We will have hope. The innocent are being slain. There's violence in the land. We know if it was the other way around, there'd be a different response. We hope to be civilized enough to remain nonviolent through this, not because we're scared, but because we're smart. We must not allow the force of meanness to be unleashed and to kill the innocent. I want to thank the parents of Trayvon Martin, the mothers and fathers who are here today, who've lost loved ones, who keep on fighting back, who will not let the graveyard hold their body down. Thank you for these lawyers. Thank you, Brother Trump, in a special way today. Give them that special insight, that word of hope and power and encouragement to lift some bowed down head. Protect our lives in these dangerous times, but through it all, let your will be done. We give ourselves totally to thee. We know if we trust you, no doubt you, that you will see us through. There's nothing too hard for you. As our youth engage upon the athletic league, let them be inspired to play ball, but also play computer and learn to read, write, and count and think. The jail is no home for them. The graveyards is not for them now. Give them that special something. Let us help them in a way. Take our children.